So then I'm going to be, I don't even know how to say it. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Again, I've got to be honest with you. And I mean no disrespect by what I, oh God. Hey guys, it's reading room time. I'm Dina Haynes, and I am the author that is reading my book, her book, whatever you want to call it, called Neesa, the first book in the original reality book series, which you can be a part of. All you have to do is check out the links below, and there is a link down there where you can sign up to be one of the heroines in your very own book and see your name on the cover of a book. Okay, so get on that. The link is down below in the description. And if you're new here, like, what are you doing? We're at the climax. If you're new, this is your last warning. Go back to the beginning. There are links in the video as well as down below. Get yourself caught up, and then I'll meet you right back here because I'm not going anywhere. And for those of you who have been keeping up with each chapter, thank you. And hopefully you're excited as I am to get to the end. Like, stuff is going down. But before we get started, like I said, this is your last chance. I'm about to drop some spoilers. But before I drop the spoilers, be sure to watch till the end. Also, just because, I mean, you should be doing that with all the videos because that helps my YouTube algorithms. Is that a thing? Anyway, like the video, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, all those little businessy type things. And stay tuned because at the end of this video, I'm going to make an announcement about something that's coming up on my channel. So you're not going to want to miss it. And now it is spoiler time in 3, 2, 1. So Neesa is basically passed out on the floor. David is threatening her life. And where the heck is Reuben? Reuben! Oh my God. This is the point in the story where it's like, shit's going down and Reuben is messing it up. He's still in Colorado. He's about to meet his well, what could be his dad, his father. So it's kind of a lot going on right now. I'm sure you want to get straight to it to see what's going to happen next because this next chapter is in Reuben's perspective. And it's going to be chapter 32. So let's do it. Chapter 32, Reuben's perspective. Hello, may I help you? Reuben was speechless for a moment until he recalled the Facebook profile from his research. The woman who answered the door was African American, the very same Mrs. Surrey he found online. With rich brown skin, she had a pixie-like hairstyle and small attractive features. She looked to be in her mid to late 40s, a little young for Edward, and had a petite build. Reuben asked, "Is this the residence of Edward Surrey?" She said, "Yes, I'm Mrs. Surrey. Who are you?" He said, my name is Reuben Murray. I'm a private investigator from California. Is Mr. Surrey home?" She gave a stern look. "He is, but may I ask what this is all about?" Reuben said, "Well, ma'am, it's a private matter. I'd prefer to speak directly to Mr. Surrey about it." She said, "Whatever it is, you should know he's a pillar of this community. He's worked as a security officer at the local university for over 20 years. Reuben smiled, impressed by her protectiveness of a man she clearly loved. He said, "I assure you he's not in any trouble." A man's voice drifted from behind her. "Brenda, who's at the door?" When the man came forward, Reuben's face went slack. All throughout his life, he had stared in the mirror, wondering what his dad would look like, since he didn't carry many of his mother's traits. When he was a boy, it was difficult to imagine a more mature face structure with facial hair, skin marred with age, and some grays thrown in there. As he got older, he could almost see it, but the effect didn't come near this experience. It was the eyes, those uncommon gray-green eyes. He cleared his throat, choked up all of a sudden. "I'm Reuben, a private investigator from California." Mr. Surrey said, "Oh yeah? Whereabouts in California?" Brenda glanced between them, seeming to draw the same conclusions Reuben had. Reuben said, "Los Angeles, but I'm originally from Las Vegas." Surrey sank his hand into his flannel pants pockets, a frown creasing his brow. "What'd you say your name was?" Reuben's eyes were transfixed on the man. "Reuben Murray." The creases in Surrey's forehead smoothed over. He said to his wife, "Brenda, give me a minute alone with this guy." Brenda said, "Maybe we should invite him in." He said, "A minute, sweetheart, okay?" She nodded and looked at Reuben once more before she disappeared into the house. Mr. Surrey said, "What is this about, young man?" Reuben said, He was still in shock, but acutely aware not to draw any conclusions yet. He needed real concrete answers first. "I was born in Las Vegas in 1981. My mother's name was Kitty Copeland before she married a man named Edward Murray, according to the marriage certificate." Surrey's face paled. He licked his lips and shifted back and forth on his feet, his expression uncertain. "What are you saying?" Reuben said, "I think you know." His eyes searched Reuben's face as though acknowledging the similarities. He asked, "You got any ID on you?" "Sure." Reuben pulled out his wallet and flashed his license. Surrey rubbed a palm over his short crew cut. "Maybe you should come inside." He moved aside and let Reuben by. The house was big, an 80s-era build with vaulted ceilings and odd angles everywhere. Reuben followed Surrey into the living room and peered out of windows that overlooked the canopy of a tree. Brenda came into the living room through the dining area. She asked, "Can I fix you some coffee? I brewed a pot right before you came, Mr. Reuben. Call me Reuben. I'd love a cup." She said, "How do you take it, Reuben?" He said, "Lots of cream and sugar, please." "Have you taken care of business?" Okay, if not, just pause the video for just a quick second, like the video, hit the little bell icon after you subscribe, and let's continue on with the story. She shot a glance at Surrey, who returned it with a raised brow. She said, "2 coffees, heavy on the cream and sugar, coming up." Surrey said, "Have a seat." He gestured to the table in the dining nook past the living room. As he walked in, Reuben noticed the deck beyond the sliding glass door to his right, with a view onto a lake. The old man had done well for himself. Reuben took a seat with his back to the wall, where he had a view of all the rooms. Surrey sat on the opposite side of the table as they waited for his wife to join them. She dropped 3 mugs on the table and sat next to Surrey. He put his arm around her and said, "Reuben is Kitty Copeland's son." Reuben tasted his coffee, just the way he liked it. She asked, "Kitty who?" With a look from Edward, the confusion cleared. "You mean—" Surrey said, "Yep." He sipped his coffee, then faced Reuben again. "I've got to be honest with you, and I mean no disrespect by what I'm about to say. I was in Vegas for a couple of weeks, that's all. I met Kitty, but a lot of what happened I don't remember. I know we had a good time. Alcohol was involved and maybe a few other substances." He sighed, taking a moment to collect himself. "We got married, but it was, a spur-of-the-moment, foolish kind of thing. I left shortly after that and filed for an annulment, which I was granted, by the way. By the time I heard about the child support she was claiming I owed, it was years later. She tracked my family down, but I'd already moved here to Boulder. I was applying for my job as a security officer and didn't want a past mistake to get in the way of that. Since the father's name she claimed on the birth certificate was off, along with everything else she knew about me, I didn't see a need to stick my neck out. She couldn't prove I was and I guess I wanted to put that stage of my life behind me. I'm sorry I didn't look into it further, but I have a lot of bad memories down that road, son. And none of them have to do with you. Reuben found it hard to listen to a virtual stranger speak so poorly about his mom. Even his mother couldn't escape this man's indifference. How sad that it took almost 40 years and traveling 1,000 miles to find sympathy for the woman who had birthed and raised him. She could have aborted him or given him up for adoption. But while the man before him had made a choice to take the easy way out, Reuben's mother had stuck with him, though it was clear even to her she wasn't equipped to do so. Reuben asked, "Why does it say Edward Murray on the marriage certificate then?" Surrey said, "I don't know. Like I said, a lot of alcohol was involved. Maybe it was a last-ditch effort to sabotage the thing, or maybe the clerk heard me wrong. After I sobered up, I figured the certificate wouldn't stand up in court, but it takes a lot more than a misspelling to nullify a marriage. I mean, was Kitty even her real name?" Brenda put a hand on his arm and squeezed. Reuben said, "Kitty was her real name." Surrey patted his wife's hand. "I'm sorry. I don't mean to come off like a jerk." Reuben looked outside for a moment and shook his head. What did he expect? For the guy to scoop him up in a big bear hug and call him son? Reuben said, "I'm not here to report you or take you in. My mother died over 5 years ago, so I'm not looking to gouge you for money either. I do fine all by myself." Surrey said, "I can see that, and I'm sorry for your loss." Reuben said, "I appreciate that, but that's not why I'm here. I want to know the truth. I grew up without a father, and I don't expect you or whoever that may be to step in out of the blue. I mean, I'm a grown man, obviously. But I want to know, need to know, where I come from, aside from my mother's family." "Eddie," Brenda soothed. Tears had pooled at the corners of her eyes and were about to spill. "You've always wondered too. Let's hear him out." Surrey said, "What do you need from me?" Reuben said, "I was hoping you would consent to a DNA test. That way we'll know for sure. If it comes out negative, I can slip out of your life and you can finally put this chapter to rest." Surrey said, "And if it's positive?" Reuben opened his mouth to respond, but nothing came out. As much time as he'd spent planning this meeting over the years, he had never imagined he would get this far. Brenda said, "If it's positive, then you'll have to come back and visit. Family is important to us, and we have a large one. We would love to welcome you into it, if it comes out positive." Okay, that's the end of chapter 32. Oh, so exciting. Okay, I don't know. I just love this part of the story. So I promised there would be an announcement at the end of the video, and here it is. I'm going to be doing an extra video this week where I talk about manifestation as an author. So I've been on a spiritual journey now for quite some time, decades really. But for the past decade, I guess you could say, I don't know, like maybe 7 years or so, I've really been on a path of manifestation and learning about manifestation. And so I thought I would share with you some tips about manifestation from an author's point of view, which is quite a unique point of view. So you definitely want to tune in because I have a couple of interesting stories which brought me to decide to actually do this kind of a video. So tune in, and don't forget before you leave right now to like the video, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon. And I will see you next time for chapter 33. And it's going to be Neesa's perspective, so we're going to find out what's going to happen to her next.